more fun. Right, let's go do a video. The McIlroy PGA Golf again. The second round of Players Championship. Do funny flipping, yeah.
NBC Golf Channel on EA Sports, in association with the PGA Tour, proudly presents the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, it's live second-round coverage of the Players.
Yeah, turn it down a bit.
Can't ask for much more here at the 7th. He has hit a good one. Frank, this is a position where a player is absolutely licking his chops here. Good chance to make a birdie.
Yeah, this is when this game just looks like fun. Bunkers don't seem to be in play. The only thing you're really looking at right now is just the flag.
Well, there's an opportunity wasted.
Just knock it in for a par, and let's forget about this one. Golf is not about perfect. It's going to hurt the course.
In for par. Frank, 17 here at TPC Sawgrass gets all the attention when you look at the par threes, justifiably so. But number 8 is a daunting challenge in its own right.
It is longest of the 4 par threes. Plus, it's just littered with bunkers around the side, the back, and the front.
Par yesterday. Now for birdie. That had to really hurt, Frank, because it looked good all the way.
Well, this will test his mettle. Even par currently.
Well, not in contention, but in for par. Frank, the 9th is really a good par 5, isn't it?
There's so many options here. Just play it away, sort of 3-wood it down there, then go to the right and sort of wedge it on the green. But it's very tempting, especially in the right wind conditions. And that's if they're coming over your shoulder for a right-hander from right to left. Then this par 5 is very reachable.
And from the fairway for his second shot here.
Now, this is not heading in the right direction.
No, it looks like it's going to be in the rough. Getting set for this next shot from the rough, what does the player need to be careful of here, Frank?
Well, this is where we're going to see exactly how good they are, because, you know, that's not exactly the best lie, but it's sort of doable if you know what you're doing.
Good birdie right there.
Yeah, this game, when you can't win, it's all about top 10s, top 20s. And currently, that's exactly where they stand.
Long drive, but a bad lie.
Wicked.
Frank, in golf, as we know, there's short grass and there's long grass. We all want to be in that short grass, but it doesn't always work out that way. So what's the most important element from the shot, from the rough?
You have to be a little bit more conservative first and foremost, because you can't guarantee a perfect strike out of the long grass. So therefore, you have to look around the greens, maybe short, to the right, to the left, and realize what's involved. And also just give yourself a slightly bigger target.
Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt. So another bogey on the scorecard. And Frank, what happened this week?
I think it's a week to forget, Rich.
All right, hole number 11 here at the TPC Sawgrass, 558-yard, par 5. No shortage of options, no shortage of hazards, Frank.
If there's one hole at TPC Sawgrass where you can literally leap out of your shoes, this is it.
Well, that is a really good tee shot right there, Frank.
I think that tipped the 300-yard mark. In the direction of the sand.
It looks like it. Into the thick stuff, that's a difficult lie. He'll need to be strong with this. How good was that, Frank, from the rough?
Oh, that's amazing. That's a master class in short game.
Now this for birdie came away with par in the previous round. That's a birdie, and that's a good position from which to make a weekend move comfortably inside the cut line, still with plenty of time left in this tournament.
Scuba diving for golf balls. Stop that. Especially you got crocodiles.
NBC Golf Channel on EA Sports, in association with the PGA Tour, proudly presents the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, it's live third-round coverage of the Players. Nicely played shot, about 310 yards down the fairway. Frank, really good chance from this position to make a birdie.
Yeah, really the only thing he's looking at right now is the flag. This is a green light special.
So the second of the par 4 goes begging, and now I'll have to rely on the short game.
Yeah, but a short game, as we all know, can redeem a lot of mistakes. See if he does it here.
Well, at last, a birdie. Second hole here at Sawgrass, 532-yard par 5. Frank, considered one of the easier holes on the golf course, is that right?
Yeah, you don't have to hit it miles down there. Anything that turns a little to the player's left certainly helps. There are some trees down the left side. Just want to avoid those.
And that's going to stay on the fairway here at the second hole. Good-looking shot right here. That was just a gutsy shot right there, and a good look at Eagle coming up and getting ready for the putt. Don't leave it short. Wow. Frank, this would be a nice way to jumpstart the round.
Yeah, his momentum can quickly go in the right direction if he makes this.
Suddenly a ray of sunshine with that birdie.
There is hope. And on the top 25.
Now the par 3 third.
Not overly long, but 2 is a rarity here. Difficult green, and you don't see a lot of tee shots actually finish close here for some unknown reason.
Paying attention like a little kid at school, Frank. That baby's sitting up.
Sitting up. It's got the best view as well. You don't even need binoculars from where that ball is.
Pretty good shot right there. These putts keep the round together. Workmanlike hole. He walks away with a par. Frank, how difficult is it to access the hole location if you miss the fairway here at 4?
Well, if you miss it left, I've got to say the lesser of two evils is to be in the bunker on the right.
Frank, that is position A.
Yeah, the tee shot was like silk, Rich. I mean, just sets up that second shot so beautifully.
That is always so disappointing from that kind of a spot when you come up short.
Yeah, you're licking your chops over that one. A shot you think you could hit directly at the flag. Now, test for the short game.
This from about 10 feet. Good putt. Fifth hole here at TPC Sawgrass, long par 4. What's the challenge, Frank?
Depending, if you're long or short hitter, the long hitters have the luxury of taking it over the corner of the bunker down the right. Shorter hitters really play at that bunker down the left, 320 run out.
Second shot coming out of the rough here. Offline, and I think that one's headed for the rough. Frank, better than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that looked like it was headed for that thick stuff the whole way, but a little fortunate. But then I guess you're allowed that in this game.
Well, that would have been a bonus had it gone in, but still, reasonable chance for par here.
Yeah, there's no damage. You're not going to birdie every hole.
Continues to roll the ball very well. Another shortish par 4, the 393-yard par 4 sixth. Frank, what's the challenge here?
There's 2 bunkers down the left, but that's not really the problem. If you hug that left side, there's palm trees that come into play on that second shot.
And now it's right in his wheelhouse. Good position where he can attack the pin.
Yeah, he has all those options now. That ball's sitting up. You can bring it in high. You can bring it in low. The choice is yours.
That's well played. Now a good look at birdie. You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point.
Inexcusable.
Putt for par. Needs one. So through 3 rounds, just outside the top 10, what kind of a chance do you give a player who is sitting outside the first 10?
Yeah, it's slim. I certainly would not say none, though, Rich. You know, we've countless times over the years seen someone post an early one in and watch the leaders crumble at the end. Good opportunity tomorrow. Put a good round on the board and then just sit back and wait. And remember, there's also the chance of a playoff.
19th place, 3 under par. Locked in the top 10 the last round. Hopefully.
NBC Golf Channel on EA Sports, in association with the PGA Tour, proudly presents the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, it's live final round coverage of the Players. Welcome to the Players Championship, always one of the most unpredictable Sundays in golf. This is Pete Dye's masterful creation, TPC Sawgrass. We're located in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida.
And what a championship final round we're in for today, Rich. Whatever happens in the first 15 holes will only be exaggerated, accentuated. Your choice over 16, 17, and 18. 3 famous holes, all with water in play. And we've seen just about every scenario possible over the last few years. Today, we get to add to it.
Frank, you like his chances to walk away with a par here?
Well, with a good shot, Rich, yeah, that's certainly on the cards in that. And you think you just write a par down at the end of the hole. Don't tell anyone about it. It certainly won't affect the scorecard at the end of the day. So that's the goal right here.
That had to really hurt, Frank, because it looked good all the way.
Well, this will test his mettle.
So that's a drop shot. If you're just joining us, we're at the 15th hole here at TPC Sawgrass, 449-yard par 4. Frank, what's in store here?
One of the prettiest tee shots on the golf course, Rich. Once again, you're coming out of a chute of trees, big bunker down the right side. Really, you want to hug that right side, though. It gives you a better entry into this green.
Good strike, good lie, good chance to attack the pin. Well, it looks as though they're going to need to use all their strength to sort of hack it out of that rough, missing it off the tee here. Pretty good result right there, considering...
It looked rough all the way,
exactly.
Rich. Really did.
That's a good birdie right there. 10 to 4 under par for the championship. You licking your chops here, Frank, as a player when you get to this tee box?
Well, it's an opportunity. A 4 here certainly makes the mood better when you walk to 17 and then 18. So a 4 here is more than just making a birdie on a par 5.
Frank, it makes the game easy when you play it from the fairway.
Especially when you play it from a lie like that.
And from the fairway for his second shot here. Oh, no, look out, Frank. I think he flushed that one.
Oh, this is going, gone.
Just averted danger right there. So close.
Why does he have all the luck?
This one just requires a little bit of focus. You couldn't ask for much more than that, except to make it. Frank going for 2 in a row now. Frank starting to make the move.
Leaderboard very volatile at the moment, so a lot of move in that middle piece of the leaderboard. Top 20 so far.
Not looking good, Frank.
I think it's wet.
So off the tee here at the par 3, not his best stuff, but still a chance to make the 3.
Yeah, that was a poor miss off the tee. See if he can redeem himself.
Frank landed it on the green.
It was never going to stop.
No chance.
Save that one. It's not even going to get.
In the cup. What a shot. Can't get much better than that. Now to the final hole here at TPC Sawgrass, 462-yard par 4. Frank, is this one of the toughest finishing holes in the sport?
It is, because the simple reason you played 17 holes and the job isn't done yet.
Big full swing here. That's the way you want to finish up here at the 18th hole. Excellent drive and gives himself a good chance to go after this hole location. Frank, not just a player, but an artist. Just beautiful work right there.
The only thing I can say, Rich, is that was Sevier.
Wow, that was so close, Frank.
Just time to forget that one. I mean, he couldn't hit that much better.
Makeable putt right here, currently sitting at 1 under for the round. That is a solid par putt right there. Alongside Frank Nobilo, I'm Rich Lerner for EA Sports. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye for now.
On to the place. Like Peach Invitational, no? Where it is. Let's find out. Now it is a link.
NBC Golf Channel on EA Sports, in association with the PGA Tour, proudly presents the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, it's live opening round coverage of the Peach Invitational. That is massive off the tee.
Meters, yards, I don't care how you measure that. That's got to be what? 300 meters, 325 yards, something like that.
Headed for the bunker? Not what he wanted, but he's headed to the beach. Well, he'll be disappointed with that, no doubt.
Yeah, swing didn't quite look right on that one.
Into the tall cabbage, that ball is swallowed up. Set to go, not an easy shot by any means. And he's made it onto the green now. And getting ready for the putt. Oh, I thought he had that. Oh, man.
I just pushed it.
Boy, that hurts. So, 2 over par for the round. Take you down to hole number 11. Certainly a lot of golf left to play in this championship, but what does our featured golfer need to do to turn it around?
It's back to the basics, Rich. Find fairways, find greens, give yourself opportunities. There's plenty of birdies out there, but you've got to give yourself chances.
Well, there's an opportunity wasted.
Just knock it in for a par, and let's forget about this one. Golf is not about perfect, but it's going to hurt the cause. Oh, that even caught me by surprise, Rich. I thought par was in the bag.
It's now for bogey. Not his best effort right there. That's a bogey, and now 3 over. Now at the downhill par 4 at 12th and looking at only 391 yards. He has put himself in an excellent position with a beautiful tee shot. And now a good look at the green. That should be pretty good right there. On the safe side. Early part of this back 9 and a good approach shot. Now we'll have this for birdie.
Really? This is an awkward length.
So early on the backside here at the 12th hole, missed opportunity. Been a little too much of that, Frank, just sort of ho-hum pars. Frank, how about the 13th hole? Pretty long par 4.
It is. 470 plays closer to 500. The reason why is you're going back uphill. A slight dogleg left, playing around those 2 bunkers on the left. Another, though, that you have to flight that second shot beautifully. That green pinches in the front, protected by the bunker left and right.
And you can see a little bit off balance on the tee, and that one is going to be in the rough. You have to think he'll be happy with that, given that it looked like it was headed right for the rough.
Yeah, it looked like that was the only place it was going to finish, but, well, it's a little bit unexplainable. Let's see what he does from here now. Lucky break.
Not a gimme, but well within his range. He was fooled a little bit on that one, Frank. Not what he had in mind when he stepped to the tee, but it would be just one drop shot. This for bogey. So not his best work. He'll walk away with a bogey. Backing up that long 13th hole, we now arrive at the 14th, and this too is a challenging par 4, Frank.
Tough fairway to hit because of the pitch from the left side of the fairway to the right side of the fairway. No fairway bunkers to worry about, but if you watch the Tour Championship over the years, you'll find the majority of the field live in that right rough. It's the most difficult part of playing this downhill par 4.
Not his best shot, and now he'll have to deal with a bunker.
Yeah, they say the hardest shot in golf, the next one.
So getting set for a greenside bunker shot. Frank, when I think of the great bunker players in the history of the sport, I think about Gary Player, Seve Ballesteros, who you knew so well. What did they do that made them so effective on these greenside bunker shots?
They had an attitude for a start that was different. For them, it was, they saw possibilities. And they would imagine the amount of sand. Remember, because this is the only shot in golf where you don't have to hit the ball first. So they would really choose the amount of sand behind the ball, whether that was an inch or 2. Aim the club at that and made sure they followed through.
NBC Golf Channel on EA Sports, in association with the PGA Tour, proudly presents the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, it's live second-round coverage of the Peach Invitational. Frank, this is a position where a player is absolutely licking his chops here. Good chance to make a birdie.
Yeah, this is when this game just looks like fun. Bunkers don't seem to be in play. The only thing you're really looking at right now is just the flag.
Looking to splash this softly onto the green. Okay, good shot on the dance floor. Bogey here yesterday, chance to better that today. Good roll. Let's keep it going now at the 14th, 442-yard par 4. At the 14th now, 442-yard par 4 goes downhill a bit.
Yeah, you have to hit the ball down the left side of the fairway, Rich, because everything slopes to the rough on the right. Ball hangs up on the left side. There is a lone tree in the rough there that often comes into play. Green slopes away from the players to the left, and those two bunkers, the reason why they're pinched in, well, when you're in the rough, you'll find out why they're there.
Playing this par 4, still not on the green after that second shot.
That's still not done. A good third shot. Maybe get away here with par. Even par currently.
That's how you maintain momentum. Make those putts for par. Now getting settled over the ball here at the 15th. East Lake, second of the par 5s on the course, 525 yards. He has given this one the full treatment. Perfect release through the ball. And this shot is on the fairway, over 300 yards.
This is not heading in the right direction.
Well, it looks like it's going to be in the rough. Frank made this hole just a little bit harder hitting it into the rough.
I would say a lot harder.
Not enough on that one.
Yeah, it just seemed to baby it.
Frank, this is where the mental game really comes into play. You've hit a second consecutive shot into the rough.
This could pound very, very quickly, so now's a chance to just take a little breath, take a breather, and try to make sure this shot certainly gets out.
That's how you keep a round going. Make them from that distance. Here we are at the 16th now. Frank, this one's offline.
There's rough and thick stuff over there.
Frank, he is one of the longest hitters in the game, but at some point, you have to hit a fairway.
Yeah, he's certainly not the straightest. I think that was the bit you're going to put in the middle.
So from the rough back to the fairway, that's the right way to go.
Yeah, didn't take the bait. And at least now, he's only going to play the price of a poor tee shot. Still got a good chance, though, getting away with par.
Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. Frank, the par 4 17th at 455 yards has become really one of the most famous holes on the PGA Tour.
By virtue of that great up and down by Bill Haas when the level of the lake had been reduced just to the level where he could actually play that vital third shot. The hole is a slight dogleg left, par 4, fairly flat. Those three bunkers down the right are absolutely perfect if you're going to just bail out to the right. You'll certainly learn how to play fairway bunker shots. If you can find the fairway, this green raised slightly, and you'll see that gaping front bunker that protects the front.
Frankie took plenty of time on this birdie putt. He looked at it from 3 different angles. He forgot one very important ingredient.
Yeah, pace. You can definitely fall in love with the line, even with approach shots as well, but obviously we see it more on putting.
The 18th hole here at East Lake is a par 3, 235 yards to the green.
This looks like it's heading for the bunker.
Not missing by much today, but enough to again be in the bunker. Great professionals, Frank, they don't fear greenside bunker shot, do they?
No, because you can be as aggressive or as conservative as you want. You actually have far more options. And you don't have to hit the ball first.
Pretty good shot right there. Nudge this one home, finish it up. Frank, it has been that kind of a tournament. Another bogey. So that is the end of the second round, and unfortunately, the end of the tournament for our featured player, missing the cut.
Well, they certainly didn't hit the magic number here for the tournament. Fell below the cut line, and they just couldn't make it back. There's always next week.
US Open, no.
EA Sports and the United States Golf Association are proud to present a national championship. It's opening round coverage of the United States Open Championship. Well, this looks good.
Certainly is. Rich, so often we've seen weird things happen at the US Open. The late Payne Stewart, the ball moving on the 18th green. Too often they push the player closer and closer to the edge, but it's often what defines a champion in our sport.
Well, I think at a U.S. Open, the USGA is testing a player as much mentally, psychologically, as they are physically. And inherent in that is the idea that golf wasn't always meant to be fair. How do you deal with that bad break? You going to let it affect you the rest of the round, or are you going to put it behind you and continue to move forward? A U.S. Open to me, Frank, has always been about kind of the climb up Everest. It's not going to be easy. There will be setbacks along the way. The idea is to make it to the top of the mountain.
And that's why when they etch that name on the trophy, it's there for more than one reason.
He pays a price for that.
Yeah, when you don't see the top of the ball in the rough, you know it's not sitting pretty. You need a bit of force to extract one out of there.
So the second of the par 4 goes begging, and now I'll have to rely on the short game.
Yeah, but a short game, as we all know, can redeem a lot of mistakes. See if he does it here. I mean, this skill, and that was sublime.
Just good hands, coming out of the rough, able to manage the distance, and now in great position. Good stroke right there. That's a par, and stays at 1 under. Frank, you played the U.S. Open and nearly won it back in 1994 at Oakmont, so you remember this par 3-6, the 194 yards. It's changed a bit since then. How?
It has. They've actually made the green a little bit bigger, and how they managed to do that, they took away a bunker that used to be behind the green a little on the left side. It's not really made the hole any easier, but it still suits like a little bit of a cut. And there's something that starts on those left bunkers and works its way back towards the middle of the green. The reason why that's a better shot is because the slope of the green goes in the opposite direction. So it's one way to keep the ball straighter.
Doesn't dig into the lead with that par, but Frank, sometimes, and you know this as well as anyone, you just have to kind of maintain your footing out there. Frank, the 7th here at Oakmont at 434 yards looks like your prototypical U.S. Open hole in that it requires some accuracy off the tee.
It does, and the bunkers are exactly where you would like to hit it, that sort of awkward distance. So if you want to challenge this hole off the tee, you're going to bring the 5 bunkers into play, the 2 on the left and the 3 on the right.
Here's to be what they call a commercial play, very solid. Trying to generate some momentum here at the 7th hole. This for birdie. This one just requires a little bit of focus. That may have been a bit too much to ask for there, that distance putt, Frank.
Yeah, it's fine to be greedy before you hit the putt, but after you've hit it, 2 from that distance is fine.
That had to really hurt, Frank, because it looked good all the way.
Well, this will test his mettle.
Just a little tap in here. So with that, the score is now at even par. U.S. Opens, Frank, as you well know, you've played in so many of them, are supposed to be demanding and tough. This is what a U.S. Open's all about. Par 3 and nearly 300 yards. That's the 8th at Oakmont.
It's not just the length, too, but this is a typical Oakmont green, which means it's not easy. There is an option, though, if you can't reach this green, or at least fly it on, you might get a lucky bounce to kick forward. You'll see a lot of people chipping from around the front edge of this green, and there's no shame in that.
Frank, you always talk about it. Don't compound the mistakes. Well, here we are, another shot from the rough.
And this one no easier than the one he's just hit.
Not a gimme, but well within his range. Couple shots over par. And now to the 9th, and in case a player has forgotten somehow that he's at a U.S. Open, the 9th will remind him very quickly that this is the national championship. This is demanding. What a drive. Just tattooed that. Frank, straight uphill with this approach shot, what do you have to factor in terms of club selection and setup over the ball?
You're going to have to take at least an extra club to make up for that added elevation. And also, it's tougher to get onto that front foot. I think if we stretch the tape, Rich, we might get to 29 feet.
Well, you couldn't ask for much more than that, except to make it. Just 5 feet left. Frank, you know what gets me about this game? Here a person makes a legitimate effort, makes a good stroke, and that ball spins around and is just laughing at the player. And now what's left, you could breathe on that ball. It counts the same as a 300-yard drive. It's not right.
But it's the beauty of the game.
EA Sports and the United States Golf Association are proud to present a national championship. Today, it's live second round coverage of the U.S. Open Championship.
Errant tee shot here, Rich, but going to have to muscle this one out of the rough.
This shot, 170 yards. Frank, you were a big part of the 1994 U.S. Open. I know how much that stung. We were really close right down the stretch with Lauren Roberts and Colin Montgomery and ultimately the champion, Ernie Els. That U.S. Open's remembered for the farewell from maybe the most popular player in the history of the sport, Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer went back to his roots. He grew up, we know the story of his father was a teaching professional, Deacon Palmer. Gave him one of the greatest grips in the game. If you get a chance to talk to Arnold Palmer, he'll give you the best 5-minute lesson on a golf grip you'll ever hear. So it was suiting really for a great champion like that to finish in his backyard or the nearest thing, which was Oakmont. And that was in 1994. And he didn't make the cut after 36 holes. But he received the ovation that any champion would dine out on as he walked up that 18th hole on Friday. And then went into the media center and did what only Arnold Palmer could do. He told the truth about his life, what the game meant to him and everybody that had followed him, what they also meant to him, as well as the people in the media center. And there wasn't a dry eye between Arnold Palmer and the media that adorned that day. The king was in his court.
Bittersweet for Arnold Palmer to have said goodbye in Western Pennsylvania. He grew up at nearby Latrobe. He so desperately wanted to win a U.S. Open at Oakmont, and he came close and didn't putt very well. And a young guy with the massive thighs and that distinctive brush cut by the name of Jack Nicklaus took one in 1962 in a playoff. And then finally he says, so long, goodbye, his final U.S. Open. And this is unusual. The press very rarely will clap for someone after they've done the press conference. When Arnold finished in 1994, and he was in tears, the press rose and gave him a standing ovation. He's known as the king, but I always like to say I think he's the best friend the game has ever had.
What was he thinking there?
I have no earthly idea.
Right on YouTube, I'm going to end this video.
He needs
So
sort of miracle putt.
I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio.